Welcome to Vegetarian Kitchen. My name's Arnie. Today I'm going to show you how to make a complete meal appropriate or good for the winter. We're using some winter vegetables, carrots, lima beans, which are not exactly, well, they're winter. They're good for winter. And I want to take as a more or less what you would call the main entree. I'm going to take some lettuce leaves. This is green leaf lettuce. I'm going to blanch that and fill it with a combination of shiitake and porcini mushrooms, pine nuts, and Swiss cheese. I'm going to bake that a little bit and serve that with a champagne bechamel sauce. Okay, so I'll get started with the lettuce leaves. I have these obviously washed, and I'm going to blanch these in a little bit of hot vegetable stock to make them a little more flexible so that I can wrap my ingredients, okay? So we'll go over to the stove and we'll start out with that. Take these right over. I have some vegetable stock here that's just under the boiling point. It's more or less like a simmering vegetable stock. So what I want to do is take this lettuce leaf, just put it in there just for 30 seconds or so, maybe not even that much, so I can increase the heat just a little bit. Okay. Now see, what happens is, I hope you can see this, but what happens is when you put it in the hot stock, the color of this leaf, now I'll hold it here just for a second, you can get the color of this leaf intensifies. It gets more green, if you can believe it. If you overcook it, it'll become very pale, but you can see that the color that it goes in is sort of a light green, and when it comes out, you can see how it comes out. It's not that much, but it's a slightly darker shade of green. It makes a nice presentation. I'm also going to make a bechamel sauce for this, and the bechamel sauce is a basic, something that you learn, one of the first things you learn when you learn how to cook. It's just a basic white sauce. It's derived from French cooking, and I'm going to use half and half as opposed to cream. Half and half's a little bit lighter. I'm going to thicken that up and season it with just a little champagne, salt and pepper, and that'll be it. It's very simple. I want to keep this very simple. So I want the flavors of the mushrooms and the pine nuts and the Swiss cheese to come out, and I want those flavors to be enhanced, not overpowered by the sauce. With this, the star of this show is the ingredients inside the lettuce leaves, so I want them just to be a little bit, just to be brought out by the sauce, not to be overpowered. Okay, so blanch these leaves. I'm going to cut out this center midrib here so that I can fold these up real easily. You can see that. I'll cut that out and fill these lettuce leaves. Turn the stock off. Okay, so let's come back over here and I'll get my paring knife. And I have a couple that I've already made. I have a moist paper towel that I keep over the top of them so that they stay moist. Don't want them to dry out as you're working. So I can keep a little bit there, keep that there. Okay, so I take the first leaf. These are fairly delicate, so you may have some little tear. So you always want to prepare more ahead of time than you're going to need. Okay, so you see this center, I'm going to cut that out. That will, this is a little more tough, so I'll cut that right out. And then I fold this piece over so that so that it's folded up, covered really nicely so that there's no things. I take the cheese, I put that down first. Okay, so I'm going to wrap this and then turn it over And so as I bake it, the cheese will melt and it will combine with the mushrooms and the pine nuts. Okay, so I want cheese down first, mushrooms. Okay, now I use, for this I'm using dried porcini mushrooms and shiitakes, and I soak them in a little bit of hot water for maybe an hour or so till they soften up. Then I drain them. Okay, so I have this little package here, and I'll fold it up over this way, and then like that, and then take it, more or less roll it like this. And now you see here there's a little spot where I can take and tuck this leaf back to fold that over. That's where I made the cut of the midrib. Okay, so I have a nice package, fairly well sealed. Similar to in appearance to what my mother used to make, stuffed cabbage leaves. I think they're called galumkis, they're called in Eastern Europe. Used to love those. The lettuce leaf has a little bit more delicate flavor. That's why I like that in this recipe. This is very delicate. So I fold this over. Okay, I take a little bit of cheese, all right? A few mushroom pieces. Pine nuts. Oh boy, this is going to be good. You'll see. And then I fold it up. Make myself a little package. Make sure I have no, okay, thing like that. Now I'm going to do one more. No, actually, I'm just going to do these 4. That's it. See how they look? But you can see the bright green. And I have one, this is actually a darker green. I have one, let me get a lettuce leaf. This one is an unblanched, and you can see the difference in the color a little bit. These are a little darker. I like that. If you overdo it, they'll get pale and they'll have a washed out color, so you don't want to overdo them. Okay, now I have my moist paper towel. Cover it. Set this aside, and we'll make our bechamel sauce. Okay, so come back over to the stove, all right, and get this hot stock out of the way. I'm going to do this, get a saute pan heating. Pilot light isn't cooperating. There we go. Now I want to get this pan hot, and I'll add a little bit of butter, a little bit of flour, and make a roux. I add equal parts, basically equal parts of butter and flour, and make what they call a yellow roux. That's a thickening agent. For this sauce, I need to thicken the milk, actually half and half. I thicken it half and half before I add the champagne. Okay, the reason for that is the champagne is acidic, and if I mix the half and half and the champagne and then heat it, the half and half will curdle. So it's a process you have to follow. Okay, so I get a little bit of butter. I'll melt that. As always, this is not an exact science. Some of the things are, but I approximate. And what I want you to do over time is, when you're watching this, be careful. If you have your pan too hot, your butter will start to get brown, and you don't want that for this sauce.